This is one of the darkest truths in history. For America, war has never been solely about survival, justice, or freedom. At its core, more often than not, it has been about money. Every war became more than just a battlefield where soldiers and bullets collided. It also became a stage for financial opportunity. While unaware citizens sent their sons to fight, while families tightened their belts and lived frugally, the machinery of finance quietly turned war into profit. America did not only fight wars, it learned how to monetize them. To understand this, we must go back to 1914 and examine the First World War. At the time, the United States was not directly involved. Europe was destroying itself. Millions of soldiers were sent to the front lines, millions of artillery shells were fired, and national treasuries were dragged into debts they could not possibly sustain. And in that moment, America saw opportunity. From across the Atlantic, American industry and American banks stepped in. Wall Street giants like J.P. Morgan arranged billions of dollars in loans for Britain and France. American wheat, steel, coal, and munitions flowed into Europe. If you do not understand what billions of dollars meant in the early 1900s, it meant unimaginable sums, amounts that exceeded the entire federal budget. And all of it came with heavy interest. Every artillery shell fired on the Western Front was not just a show of force. It represented mounting debt owed to American financiers. Every explosion meant more interest payments. When the United States officially entered the war in 1917, its financial system was already tied to the outcome. If Britain and France lost, Wall Street would lose too. The line between national security and financial interest began to disappear. Citizens were urged to purchase Liberty bonds. Propaganda posters declared, "I want you," inviting Americans to lend money to the government. Even children collected thrift stamps to contribute. For the first time in history, an entire nation was financially mobilized to fund a war. But while small savers gave the dollars they could barely spare, the real winners were bankers and industrialists. Factories expanded, profits soared, private finance gained unprecedented influence over the state, and a new model was born. War would be financed not primarily through taxation, but through debt. That model never disappeared. During the Second World War, the system grew even larger. 85 million Americans purchased war bonds, raising over $185 billion. Corporations secured guaranteed profits through military contracts. War was no longer just a tragedy to endure. It became an economic engine. At the same time, the dollar was transforming. The gold standard weakened. In 1944, under the Bretton Woods Agreement, the dollar became the world's reserve currency. As Europe lay in ruins, America emerged financially stronger than ever. During the Cold War, military spending became permanent. Economists called it military Keynesianism. War spending became a tool to stimulate economic growth. Hundreds of billions were spent in Vietnam. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard entirely. The dollar was no longer backed by gold, but by the power of the American state and its military dominance. The petrodollar system was established. Oil was priced in U.S. dollars. Money and war became inseparable. The 1991 Gulf War, and later the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq after 9/11, followed the same pattern. Trillions of dollars were spent. The financial mechanism kept working. Wars may produce controversial military outcomes, but financially the system continued to function. Defense contractors received their contracts. Banks earned interest. Debt expanded. The burden fell on the public. Today, the defense budget exceeds $800 billion annually. Entire industries are integrated into this structure. Inflation, taxation, public debt, all are part of this system. War is not only fought on the battlefield, it is felt in your wallet. The more unsettling truth is this: crises and conflicts are not exceptions. They are features of the system. For those who understand debt, money supply, and resource control, they are opportunities. For others, they are traps. Inflation erodes savings. Debt chains tighten. Volatility creates dependency. The purpose of this narrative is not simply to say war is bad. It is to reveal a deeper reality. In modern history, major conflicts have been financial as much as they have been ideological. Real financial education is not just about learning to budget or invest. It is about understanding how the system itself is designed and who it ultimately serves. Because if you do not understand the system will crush you. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. Those who do not understand their history cannot move forward with strength. History of Money.